We have had an opportunity to discuss the erase command and the move command. With the tutorials that we'll be doing coming up, I will discuss the other icons such as copy and offset and mirror. Right now what I'd like to point out, what I'd like to do is go back and talk specifically about selecting objects. First I'm going to place a couple more lines in my drawing in order to talk about this. I'm going to select move for now, and I want to talk about being able to select objects. Previously I showed you how to select them by simply clicking on them, as I'm doing now, and then entering via either the keyboard or the mouse, and then picking a point anywhere you'd like, and if you wanted to or needed to, you can turn ortho off or on, and then picking on the screen again. This is one way to select objects. There are two other ways that I'd like to point out. So going back to the move command, selecting objects, let's say for example I wanted to move all of the objects that I see here on my screen. As your drawings become more complex, you will have more entities, and it's not going to be easy to select each individual object. There is a way to select everything at once. I'm going to pick right here in the middle of my screen, and because there were no entities in the area, AutoCAD assumes that I would now like to select my objects using a window or a crossing window. Let me point out the difference between these. I'm going to just pick here, for example, to terminate this, and I'm going to select up in the top right hand corner. Again, nothing is selected. And now I'm going to move my cursor all the way to the lower right hand corner, as you can see here. This is what is referred to as an implied window. AutoCAD will select the objects that are 100% inside of this window. At this point I would be selecting all three circles and the one small line segment. I will not be selecting the two longer segments because they are not completely inside of the selection. I'm going to click now, and as you can see, 4 objects were selected, but the other 3 were not. Let's go ahead and finish this. I'm going to right click, pick a point, and move them over. How do I select all of the objects at once? A couple of ways. Obviously, I could have gone move, and I could have selected all of them by moving the window all the way to this location. Another way to select them is by using the implied crossing window, and that works from going in a right to left direction. I simply clicked right now in this lower left hand corner. I'm going to move the cursor. This time I'm going to stop right here. The difference now is that AutoCAD will select all of the objects which are 100% inside of this implied crossing window, and it will also select the objects that are crossing through this window. So as you can see, the 2 larger circles and the 1 line are not completely selected, but they are crossing this window. So if I click now, all of the objects are selected. I'm going to right click, specifying a base point. I pick this point here, and I'm just going to move them over like so. So just to repeat this, using the move icon, or for that matter I could even select the erase. When it indicates to select objects at the command line, again, if I were to just pick a point anywhere on the screen and it does not select an object, AutoCAD immediately assumes that I would like to either use an implied crossing window or an implied window. An implied crossing window is going from right to left, and the implied window is going from left to right. Again, the difference is the objects in the implied window must be inside. The objects must cross through the implied crossing window. If I select now, it has selected 3 objects. I can now also, since I am in the select object mode, pick the remaining objects or window the remaining objects, or perform yet another implied crossing window. Now if I enter, I have erased the objects. If I didn't want to erase all of the objects, I can always go back and undo.